Well, the man came towards me quickly, telling me that his name was Joseph, that he was from Galilee, expecting me, of course, to understand. Well, I just told him that they must find somewhere else. But he just kept telling me his name, where they were from, and I tried to tell him that it was for their protection that I was turning them away, but he seemed not to understand or to hear me. And then some of that drunken mob from the inn who had followed me outside, on seeing the older man with his much younger wife full with child, they began to mock him. Well, I could not stand it. Desperate to get them to leave, I yelled out, "I have no room here for you at my inn." Joseph stood there staring at me in disbelief. Then, turning the animal around, he took Mary's hand and began to walk away. Words cannot describe the anguish I felt as I watched them go, knowing I'd failed them when they so much needed my help. And I'd broken my solemn promise to provide for them. And the child, the Messiah, soon to be born. How could I have done such a thing? How could I have let this happen? And while I stood there agonizing, one of the women who were with him ran up to me and begged me to tell them of some place, any place nearby, where shelter and privacy could be quickly found. But in my distress, all I could think of was the stable and the nearby cave in the hillside nearby. But surely that would not do. Yet when I mentioned it, she asked me for directions. Well, that brought me to my senses. So sending Sarah to fetch her mother, I ran after Joseph and Mary, and followed by the others, I brought them to the cave. And after lighting a lantern, I cleared a space, spread fresh straw about, and then Siddhartha and Sarah came, bringing linens and water from the inn. Then, taking Sarah back with me, I saw that Joseph and two other men were standing outside the cave, ready to keep any of the curious at bay. Once back inside that inn, my anger at those who had caused the troubles and had jeered at Joseph knew no bounds. So grabbing my sword, I yelled aloud that all those who had rooms here now must take the rest. Everybody else must leave, or else I will call those soldiers to return. Well, surprised at my own courage, given the prior nature of that crowd, I was much relieved when everyone dispersed, and there was peace again. During the next, 2 hours or so, Siddhartha was busy running to and from the stables. I kept Sarah here, much against her wishes, of course, to help me clear and clean. It was close to midnight, I recall. Oh, she'd been looking out the window as she would often do. She called to me to look up at the heavens once again. As she pointed, I saw the bright star. The one I had seen earlier, forgotten all about. It was now right over the hillside and brighter than before. We went out into the yard to watch it as it shone brilliantly right above the hillside. "This is no ordinary star," I said to Sarah. This is the Almighty's doing." And then a multitude of voices filled the air, singing out in praise, "Peace be upon this earth, goodwill to all mankind." Yes, yes. When their singing ceased, not a sound was heard. It was as though all about the earth itself was stilled. Sarah grabbed my hand, not knowing what might happen next, until from out the cave on that now most silent night, we heard a baby's cry. Sarah pulled away, ran into the cave. She followed Joseph in, while I stayed where I was, waiting, hoping all was well. And then Siddhartha came, and full of smiles, she told me it was so. A boy child had been safely born. Oh, the great relief I felt on hearing this. Or in spite of what I had done or had not done, the words that I'd issued in panic and haste, my failure to fulfill the promise I had made. In spite of all of this, the Messiah shall be born, and here in Bethlehem. Taking Sarah's hands in mine, I said my prayer of thanks for what had come to pass. And then 2 shepherds, Joel and Thaddeus, whom I knew, who had been upon the hill, had seen that star and had heard angels sing, they said, in praise of one born nearby. They came seeking him. So we took them to the cave, where they fell upon their knees in humble worship. As Mary, radiant in her newfound motherhood, she held out that precious child for all to see. And I too knelt in heartfelt adoration. Oh, the joy, the wonder we few felt within the hillside stable. Well, in time, I left the cave with Sarah and Siddhartha by my side, standing at that early morning hour with a fresh wind wafting through the ponds. It seemed to me that our lives had been somehow renewed because of the child born in our stable. For me, no sleep would come that night. So, until the sun's first light, I sat, watched. Thought of all of those prophets, scenes, men and women down through the years whose faith, whose prayers, whose sacrifices made, lives so lived, had helped prepare for this one born. And Yahweh's light had come down upon the earth within a baby born. Emmanuel. How I wished my father had been here to witness this. Well, my friends, there is much more to tell, whether the time, but, well, it is late. You shall have your rest, and I shall take old Simeon to his bed. I hope, my prayer is that my story told has given you the answer to your quest. If that be so, then I have played my part, I feel truly blessed. I'll bid you all good night. And I'll meet you here at morn when, after we have shared what food we have, I'll take you to the stable where that child divine was born. Simeon, time for bed.